Another area of stewardship that we see talked about is animals. We'd see animals that are talked about here. How should a Christian view animals? Now, as we talked about last week, humanity is made in the image of God, animals are not. They are there to promote human flourishing. So that means, yes, there's nothing wrong with eating meat. There's nothing for getting bacon back out on the table. There's nothing wrong with this. I want you to read here in Genesis 9, where he says, every moving thing that lives shall be food for you. As I have gave you the green plants, I give you everything. It means every living thing is good for food, good for eating. Even though not every culture would eat every type of meat, and I won't go into more detail about this because I'll give some of you nightmares, God said it's good. Now, does this mean that you have to eat meat? No, not at all. It doesn't mean you have to eat meat. But we shouldn't look down on anyone who eats meat. Now, before you men elbow your wives and say, see, Pastor said we can eat steak, realize that you've also been given this body. And you are a steward of your body as well. And so when the amount of meat you eat is damaging your body, well, it is time to cut back. So now, wives, you can elbow your husband back. And I'm really glad that Mom, my wife, is not in here to hear that encouragement. And we will keep that to ourselves, won't we, Evan? Now, some people think this is not the way things should be. Whether you think they should be this way or not, they are. There is a food chain. As we see in The Lion King, there's a circle of life, right? Yeah, you didn't know I could sing, did you? It's more where that came from. I tell you right now that if you go out into the wilderness and you come across a hungry predator, they are not going to sit there and have a moral dilemma of whether they should eat you or not. A giant grizzly bear is not going to sit there and think, well, should I kill them? They're made in God's image. Let me leave them alone. And if you don't believe me, I encourage you to head up to the Arctic, go find a hungry polar bear. See if he shares your logic. There is a food chain in this world. And all meat is blessed for human flourishing. Now, I'm not a fan of, and this is why I have no problem with hunting. Now, I'm not a fan of hunting for sport, but I am a fan of hunting for meat. And I'm a fan of other people hunting for meat and bringing me some. I'm just going to leave that out there. Now, does this give us a free pass to human cruelty? No, of course not. This is why we have laws. You go to jail for how you treat animals. Why? Because we are made in the image of God. And the image of God says there is a creative order in this world, and it should be stewarded well.